Hello, I'm Dr. Lachelle Weemy again, and I wanted to welcome you to day 2 of the Mindset Magic Healing Frequency Experience, where I am going to teach you over the next couple of days how to get the most out of your AOScan technology. Okay, now we went over some basic science yesterday, and today what we're going to do is go over one of my absolute favorite features of this technology, which is the inner voice. But before we do that, I want to get into a little bit of why this inner voice is so important and remind you that our thoughts are energy. And our thoughts as energy are very, very powerful because if you can recall, Albert Einstein was able to observe that atoms outside of ourselves were influenced by the intention of our thoughts. So if you realize just how powerful our thoughts are in the energetic space, you recognize how amazing once we get more control and hold our power of our thoughts, that everything in the world around us can start to shift. Okay. Now, as a life and business coach, I have learned that our thoughts are what influence our feelings. And our feelings are what lead to our actions, and our actions then lead to results. And so, if we want to have massive change in our life, we want to be able to do the things that are necessary to be successful, we really have to get a handle on our thoughts and on our feelings. Now, as a reminder, energy is really just the measurement of how fast those electrons are moving. And if you recall, the speed in which those electrons are moving are measured with frequency, and frequency is measured with hertz. So all we're looking at is the measurement or how fast those electrons are moving throughout our body. Now, I reminded you that our thoughts are what create our feelings, and it's so fascinating because MIT scientists have been able to measure how fast or how slow those electrons that are rotating throughout our body are moving based on the feelings that we're having. They can measure our biofield based on our feelings, and our feelings are impacted by our thoughts. So if I am having feelings of things like joy and knowledge, empowerment, freedom, love, and appreciation, like the top here, I am actually vibrating really, really fast at a high vibration of 700 or more hertz. When I'm thinking thoughts that lead to feelings of fear, of grief, of hopelessness, of guilt and shame, I actually find that the electrons in my body start to rotate a lot slower. Therefore, they have a lower frequency and a lower hertz. In fact, the emotions that are associated with victimhood or shame are down as low as 20 hertz. So the more empowered our thoughts and our feelings are, the higher the vibration. The more disempowered our thoughts and feelings are, the lower our frequency, the lower our vibration. Okay. Now, I also absolutely love the work that was done by Dr. Emoto in this water experiment. So in this experiment, Dr. Emoto actually used thoughts and words specifically to influence or measure the influence of water molecules. So they spoke loving words or not loving words over water molecules, froze them, and then looked at them under the microscope. When the water molecules were exposed to high vibration feelings and words, they actually formed these beautiful configurations of crystals. When the water molecules were exposed to very negative thoughts, feelings, and words, they actually formed a very disarrayed, not beautiful and uniform configuration. So if you look at this, thank you, wisdom, truth, angel, I love you, peace looked much different than you fool, you make me sick, and evil. In addition, I absolutely love utilizing this technology because it really does make me feel like it's electronic prayer. And in this example, they took polluted water before prayer and after prayer, and you can see the difference. So our thoughts and our feelings and our words make a huge impact in the water molecules. Now, remember that our body is made up of mostly water. In fact, a woman is about 60% water and a man 65%. If you notice that our brain is 83% water. So if you think about this, if our thoughts and our feelings can have that much impact on the configuration of how atoms come together to form the water, what is it doing inside of your body? Now, I've also mentioned this yesterday in our basic overview that every single cell in our body has a baseline frequency when healthy. So, our thoughts and our feelings can actually influence the way in which the various cells in our body are vibrating. So, if I have chronic stress, for example, I am actually impacting the physical way that my body is able to perform. In fact, scientists have been able to very confidently say that 85% or more of our physical symptoms or disease has an emotional component. And some people would argue that it's 100%. And so, if we do not get a handle on our emotional state, it impacts more than just the way that we feel in our minds, it impacts the way that we feel in our bodies. Now, in addition, I want to just point this out because oftentimes I have people come to me and they have mindset blocks and they have things that they know they want to do, but they just cannot get themselves to do it. And oftentimes the reason for that is that they have subconscious energy blocks or energy blocks stuck inside their body. Now, the thing that's really important is that as we humans feel emotions, we have to allow for that emotion and the energy of that emotion to be able to go through the body and dissipate. So we have to be able to feel our emotions, process them, and allow them to leave. If we try to shove them down, if we ignore them, they will actually stay stuck inside of our body like wadded up balls of energy. And so when we have disease, oftentimes we can just find the association between the symptoms and an energetic block. In addition, we can have subconscious mindset blocks because of this exact same reason. Energy must flow. So if our thoughts and our emotions are energy, they must be allowed to flow or they'll get stuck. I want to remind you that when we're using this technology, we're utilizing the science that we talked about yesterday of resonance energy, of the scalar waves, of the biofield to be able to read and deliver energy. And specifically, how inner voice works is it's utilizing the energy stored in our vocal cords to tell the program exactly what the state of the energetic field is, both throughout the whole body as well as the individual cells. Okay. And one of the things that is really important to note is that our emotions are stored in our vocal cords. Just like if I were to call you on the phone without being able to see me, you would be able to tell if I was having a good day or a bad day. This is also the same type of concept that they use for lie detector tests because our emotions are stored in our vocal cords. Okay. And so what this does, it allows for the person who's using it to submit a 10-second snapshot of their voice, and it runs it through an algorithm that is looking at over 10,000 different frequencies. And it picks out the 2,000 frequencies that are most associated with each of the four main emotions that you are currently expressing, both consciously and subconsciously. And I'm going to get into this in just a second, but I wanted you to be able to understand that it's just the voice that is analyzing and it's looking through several different tones and octaves and different frequency combinations in a very complex algorithm to tell you exactly what's going on inside your body. All right, let's go ahead and dive into the actual behind the scenes. Okay, so now that we are inside of our AO scan technology, I'm just going to remind you that the upper left-hand corner is kind of home base. And so if you need to get back there, that's where you go. And then you're going to go ahead and we're going to do inner voice. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is at the very top of the screen, make sure that the target person that you are wanting to read the biofield and deliver the information is the person selected. Very important, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate exactly how this works. I'm going to suggest that you use the microphone with the little heart and pulse thing, and I'm going to explain to you why that's important in just a moment. So what I'm going to do in just a second is I'm going to hit this button. It's going to count down by a couple of seconds, and then I am going to speak, okay? Now, it's important that we allow for our emotions to be picked up in the most accurate way possible. So this is what I would suggest that you do. 5 seconds before that you start this, you want to think about something that makes you sad. Okay. And then you're going to think about that for about 5 seconds. And then I guess you're going to think of it something happy for another 5 seconds. So it's really 10 seconds. So 10 seconds before you do this, 5 seconds of sad, 5 seconds of happy. And what we're doing is we're capturing the range of our emotions currently right now. The next thing that I'm going to do when I go ahead and hit this record button is I'm going to say I am and then my name, because there's a lot of power in our I am statement. And this is kind of our signature into the biofield. And then you can talk about whatever the heck you want. I have people that just say, like, it's sunny outside and today I'm going to do this. I have people that recite the alphabet. It really doesn't matter. What matters is the tones that are coming out through your voice. Okay. So go ahead and I'm going to have you watch me. I am Lachelle Mimi. Today is Thursday. I have been able to do these really great recordings today, and it's been really fun to teach people how to do all of this. Okay, so now my voice, and it's analyzing the various cells within my body to see if they are vibrating faster or slower than they're supposed to be. And it's basically telling me how my emotions are impacting my body and perhaps how my body is impacting my emotions. Now, it doesn't really matter which way is which. What matters is that I know what emotions are out of range, and I know to listen to the music that it's going to give me that'll teach me exactly how to go ahead and to feel better. Okay. Okay, so it is done scanning me. Now I am going to go here and I'm going to show you the reports first, and then I'm going to show you how to listen to the music. Okay. Now, when you go into reports, there is a little tiny bit of explanation here if you want it. Again, in the upper right-hand corner, you can always hit the little question mark button and it will always, tell you what you need. And these are the things that it's telling me right now that I am out of range with. Okay. So the top 3 are the ones that I am currently out of range in my conscious mind. And oftentimes what I'll do is I will tell people to go down to this emotions, and it'll tell me exactly where I'm at in my emotional state, which is it's picking up guilt, deficient, and nervous exhaustion. And I have had a lot going on. Okay. So it's also going to tell me, based on the reading of my body, where I could possibly get a little extra support, such as it's telling me that if I can take some pre-meal enzymes, do a liver detox, go to the chiropractor, exercise, drink alcohol in moderation, monitor my blood sugar, and then again, it's saying chiropractic adjustments. And I have missed my chiropractic adjustments over the last few weeks. And so it's telling me exactly what's going on in my body. You'll see how this little skeleton next to these emotions are really what is going on inside the physical part of my body. But this is what's going on right now currently with me. Okay. Oftentimes people will also look at these and they will be able to read these negative emotions, and they will be able to say, oh my goodness, yes, I definitely resonate with 1 or 2 of these. Sometimes it's all of them. And what happens is when we listen to our music, which I'm going to show you how to do in just a moment, it's going to shift our body out of these emotions. It's going to shift our body out of the negative emotions, and it's going to allow for these positive emotions to start to be more prominent. Okay. It's also going to shift the physical part. In addition, you're going to notice here that there is a set of glasses that it's showing. So if you decide that you want to take part in the subscription, you are going to get an opportunity for your very first purchase to get access to some of these accessories, such as these glasses, at a very good discount. And so I actually just have mine sitting right here. I haven't changed the lens color yet because I just got this report just now, but they are interchangeable. Now, interchangeable lenses are important because what I can do is wear these, and what they do is they supplement the music that I'm going to be listening to. So it's allowing for both light, therapy and music therapy to balance out my out of balance emotions. And so if you want faster results, you can incorporate color. Okay. Again, I am going to see 3 conscious out of range emotions that are the most acutely out of range. The second one for me right now is rigid beliefs versus open opportunities. I'm going to go down here: guilt, trauma from past, self-esteem conflict. Most of the time people will tell me, yes, I know exactly what this is meaning. I know what's going on here. You can look at this again and you can look at the negative emotions and you can see, okay, yep, these are definitely resonating with me. And if I listen to my music, if I wear my colored glasses, I'm going to shift myself more into these positive emotions. Again, it's also going to show me where in my body this is being impacted. So if you are having an acute physical symptom, you're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense, because I've been having these emotions is now impacting the way that my body is performing. I can go down here and I can do some of these suggestions as well. Notice that it says chiropractic adjustments, the trace minerals again. So it's telling me, and the more that I see things, listed over and over again, the more I really need to utilize some of those modalities. The third one that it is coming up for me this time is suppressed emotional versus self-expression. I'm going to look here at the emotions that it is pulling up. I'm also going to see these negative emotions. Now, one of the things that's interesting that I've found when I've done hundreds of readings for people is that oftentimes this third one is almost like an acute on chronic situation where they say, oh my gosh, like I feel like this is kind of always there, but it's more there right now. And so they'll read these negative emotions and they will be able to relate to many of them. Okay. Now, there's a powerful distinction in the fourth one in this report. This is the one that is in my subconscious. This is the one that I have been repressing or pushing down for greater than 2 years. So this is the one that is very much impacting your inability to have a breakthrough. This is where I just can't quite get past this particular block, or I know what I need to do, but I just can't get myself to do it. This is that wadded up ball of energy that I was talking about in that subconscious. And many times we are trying to manage these things from a wide variety of things. We're reading personal, self-help books and podcasts. Maybe we're in therapy, seeing a coach, we're doing affirmations, we're doing all these things. One of the things that I absolutely love about this technology is that I'm able to incorporate things like just listening to music and putting on colored glasses that are going to essentially dissipate. They're going to dissolve those energetic blocks that have been stuck there without me having to do more. It's just able to accelerate my progress and do something without me having to put in more effort. Okay. Same thing. I'm going to go here and I'm going to go to the emotions. These are going to, most likely really stand out, as will the negative emotions. Now, occasionally, I will have people tell me when we go through their report, like, hey, I don't necessarily know if I really know what this one's about. And then I swear I will get a message a day or 2 or 3 afterwards. And they're like, oh my gosh, I completely figured out what that was. And so it's so amazing how oftentimes we have things buried and the music allows things to come up, but not in a triggering, emotional, exhausting way. It's more of like, and then there's peace. And so I really just want you guys to recognize that you have an easy way for you to clear lifelong blocks in a very, very simple manner. Now, I'm going to be really honest with you. I do not look at my reports every day because I just really want to just listen to my music and get on with it. But I can email these to myself, or you could email these to your clients. And I will usually include the report pages as well as the Pulse audio file when I send them. Okay. Now, when it comes to listening to the music, all you have to do is know that all of these settings are pretty much designed just for you on your own, just based on your scan. I personally, though, really like the music that is the ambient calming because I just enjoy the sound better. What you need to know is that when we are thinking about this technology and how it's working, is it's taking your out of range emotions. So if you can see my hand, you can imagine that my out of range emotion is like a wave in the ocean. When I play my music, it's like a wave that's coming from the opposite direction. And when two waves come crashing together, they actually cancel each other out. That is how noise canceling headphones work. It's a octave and frequency that is literally canceled out by the exact opposite neutralizing frequency. And so when I'm listening to my music, I actually have the exact notes, the exact octaves that are going to help to balance out those out of range emotions, and allows for the cells in my body to be able to get back into range. Now, I suggest that you listen to this once a day for 5 minutes. The more you listen to it, the more benefit you get, the faster the results get. In addition, you can do an inner voice scan several times a day if you want to. So many people will, listen to their music, and they'll listen to the same musical thing for months, which is not going to be harmful, but you're not taking advantage of the real time exact moment that you need support and how it can support you. So I listen to my music at least twice a day. And oftentimes, if I'm having a weird day, I'm in a funk or I'm extra stressed, I will do another recording of my voice several times a day throughout the day to support myself. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're just going to choose the music that you want, or you can leave it on the very first one that it tells you. You hit this 5 minutes, and this is just for you. And if you're like, okay, Lachelle, give me 4 different colors, I do. I would suggest, if you're short on time, to pick the top one on the far left and the top one on the far right. This one is the most out of range. This one is right now on the left. You just listen to your music. Oftentimes, what I'll do is I'll listen to this during my prayer time, meditation time. If I want to, I can listen to this. I can do it continuously. I can, put it on as I'm working, and I can do continuous, and I can just know that this is giving me all those underlying tones underneath. So it's not the music that I'm hearing, it's the actual tones that are underneath that are driving shifts. I also just wanted to mention that if you are wanting to do an inner voice assessment for somebody else that does not live with you, all you need to do is have them send you either a Facebook message voice analysis sample, or they can send you a voice text on your phone. And then what I typically will do is I will pull up the software on my computer or on my iPad, and then I will play the recording of their voice right up next to the speaker of my computer. And so as long as you go ahead and add that person as a client in the program, and you enter their voice that way, it will totally work. So make sure that you send them a report in their email so that they have that. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that this helped, and I cannot wait to get into some more training for tomorrow. All right, I'll see you later. Bye.